It's Coffee Talk on FM 94.7 and AM 1450 KBKW, and time for the Insider Report with Everett Hughes. Good morning, Everett.
Good morning, and you are on time.
Yes, we are on time. And now this is something that I'm interested in because, the IRS, to a lot of people, they'll take you and drag you and shake you upside down to get the money you owe them.
And they will.
Oh, they will?
Sure they will.
But do they have any plans to make it easier so maybe you won't be
upside
upside down?
They do.
Okay.
They do.
What do they have?
Well, recently they have them, and now they're putting another emphasis on them. And now this email mailing came to me from an IRS liaison guy who was telling practitioners, so this wouldn't have gone to the public, even though they allege the public knows this stuff. But here's the latest that they've told us. IRS Fresh Start programs help taxpayers who owe the IRS.
So they're called Fresh Start programs.
That's what they're calling them. They're calling that they've named those things. The IRS Fresh Start program makes it easier to pay taxes and avoid tax liens and yada, yada, yada. But now here's the interesting thing on tax liens. Now, we talked about tax liens last week. Tax liens. Fresh Start program increased the amount that taxpayers can owe before the IRS generally, emphasis on generally, will file a notice of federal tax lien. Now, there's exceptions, and we don't have time to get into the exceptions, which is why they have the phone number to call. But that amount is now $10,000. Usually, generally, as a matter of course, the IRS will not file a federal tax lien unless the amount of the liability is in excess of $10,000.
Okay.
And then there's some ways they can get out of that. But that generally that is their position. If it's not $10,000, they won't file the tax lien.
Now, is it better to go? I mean, if you have any kind of a large amount of money, even below $10,000, isn't it good to see a tax preparer to kind of be your guide through this?
Well, yes, I would, but nobody does. I mean, that's why I'm on the air every week, hoping they will, and people do. But see, that's why these outfits we've talked about before that are just on the internet and in your mailbox and on TV saying they can help, that's why they're getting so much action, is because the listener land doesn't know the local guy can help you. Because the local guy isn't saying they can, because maybe the local guy, other than enrolled agent Everett Hughes, doesn't. But now tax liens. If it's under $10,000, you're probably not going to get one. Now, the Fresh Start program expanded access to what they're calling a streamlined installment agreement. Individual taxpayers now can get an installment agreement on a debt up to $50,000 and pay through monthly direct debit payments for up to 72 months, 6 years. In other words, you owe $50,000, they'll give you a 72-month deal, but you have to do direct debit.
You're like buying a truck, four-wheel drive.
Buying a truck, as sometimes the IRS says. Well, that truck you have there in your yard that you paid cash for is because you didn't pay us. I mean, I've heard them say that. And they'll do that. And that form, speaking of forms, installment agreement form is the form 9465, unless you're dealing with a revenue officer. Now, the Fresh Start program, they're talking again about offers in compromise as part of the Fresh Start program. Well, I've got a document on my wall dated in 1992 and I went to the federal building for this seminar that they put on, and it was the Offer and Compromise program was a Fresh Start program in 1992. But there's a lot of people that weren't even in business, so for them it's a Fresh Start program. But they're saying that the Offer and Compromise is available. It is still viable. It is still available, and they still want you to take advantage of it if you can. Now, but the IRS, here's the thing. The IRS will not accept an offer if it believes the taxpayer can pay the amount owed in full, in a lump sum, or through a payment agreement.
You can't use that unless you really have to. Well, we're out of time, but if you want more information on this, call this number, 533-4131, 533-4131, to talk to Everett. And don't forget that website.
EverettHughes.com.